Well, it recognizes that the body is intelligent, right? There's an intelligence that governs the body that chiropractic calls it innate intelligence. I call it, it's the wisdom of God. It's life behind the curtain, right?
Welcome to another exciting show of transformation. Prosper with Wayne, creating wealth, health, and happiness in your life. With your host, life and business coach, author, entrepreneur, and lover of life, Wayne Sutton. Prepare to become excited, expand your beliefs, and truly prosper in all the areas of your life. Enjoy.
If you've ever felt like you needed somebody to help you in life, a life support advisor, I have my really good friend, somebody that's helped me in multiple areas when it comes to health, and brother in Christ, Bradley Walder, doctor of chiropractor. But I love the title that you said earlier, life support advisor, I believe you said. And man, I see that in you. I see you helping people in that area. So again, guys, everybody, thanks for jumping on board. And Dr. Bradley, thanks for jumping on to Prosper with Wayne.
Thank you, Wayne. I appreciate the invitation. It's an honor to be here, man.
Yeah, man. Well, I'll take this. It's been an honor to know you and get to know you even more. So I know our guest, people come to this podcast because they want to learn how to prosper in health and wealth and happiness. And that really kind of boils down to life itself. So I look forward to seeing where this conversation takes us. And for those who just jumping on board, we didn't script out anything. We're like, let's just see where the conversation goes. But I can tell you that stick around to the end of the video or the end of the audio, wherever you're consuming this at. And we're going to have some great stuff that we can give you for sticking around. But, oh, man, I just want to jump in with something we were talking about before I hit the record button, and it was just so good. Say you were sharing about what it means to, I guess, look for answers. I'd love for you to jump in and share with a guest. What does it mean to be somebody and help them with life support?
Well, calling myself a life support advisor because just over the past few years, what I've seen is people have lost trust in so many mountains of our culture, right? And they recognize that their trust has been broken because they haven't had their best interests at heart. And really, I'm talking about health, right? And speaking more to principalities and systems. And so calling myself a life support advisor, I really do seek to walk with people and have their best interest at heart. And I think that's what's most needed because information today is so, I believe by design, just so chaotic in how it's just out there. And you can look anywhere and find information that, hey, doing this is going to help me with Y, and or even for the same thing, doing this other thing is going to help me with Y. But how do you know what really is the answer, right?
Yeah.
What really is it that's going to help me? And I have a passion for number one, for health and metabolic health, and so that's my hobby, right? I love digging into the information and finding what is the reality.
Yeah.
And then obviously people desire to live a fruitful life, and that's, what more could somebody in the healthcare profession want than to see them thriving, to see them experience the miraculous in their life, So.
That's good. Well, it's a good question, but I think that, and again, I'm not here to bash the medical system per se, but I think there's a lot of people in the medical that it's almost like they run on autopilot instead of really digging in and trying to find truth. Yeah.
Right. And it's not the doc. I don't have any ill will against the medical profession or healthcare professionals, that are within the allopathic model. They got into it because they have a desire to help people. It's the system that they've been trained in, right? And in our culture, in our society, in our nation, we've been tricked into thinking that the allopathic model, which is your traditional MD, right, is the one that you go to be healthy. But I mean,
Mm.
we call it health insurance, but it's not doing anything to ensure our health. It's only there to provide coverage when we're sick.
Obviously, you don't want to miss a single episode. Creating health, creating wealth, creating happiness. That's what this channel is about. So go and hit the subscribe button. If you're watching this and you haven't subscribed yet and you're on YouTube, click the button and click the little bell so you're notified every time we bring out a new episode. Great interviews, great training, and the tools that you need to live a prosperous life. If you're listening to this and you're on audio, maybe you're on any of the Apple Podcast, any other platform, then be sure to subscribe there as well. And leave us a 5-star review. Would be very, very helpful. Again, I look forward to bringing you more content, and we are looking for you to give us feedback. So give us feedback. So subscribe, give feedback, comment, and I look forward to continuing to bring you massive value. Let's get back to the show.
And so really it
That's a
becomes
good
down
point.
to disease management, right?
Mm,
And so it's a lot like think of car insurance. Car insurance is only there for you when you have an event with your
that's right.
car. It's up to us to maintain that vehicle. Make sure that we're checking the oil. We're doing all the maintenance for it. And our bodies are nothing like a car, but we need to have that similar approach in paying attention and recognize that health is our responsibility. And that's why I tell everybody to seek knowledge and understanding for yourself, because your health is personal, and find somebody you can trust that will have your best interest at heart.
That's so good. That's so good. And I know from something you said a few minutes ago, and I'm sure a lot of people have run into this, there's never been more information, especially with artificial intelligence now that you can find stuff in seconds. The problem is what's accurate. Um,
Right.
and a good amount about my health journey over the last few years. And when I started really, fighting, they diagnosed me with Crohn's and going through all of that. My big journey was what's going to be best. And so what do? You Google it. The
Right.
doctors told me that, I mean, literally my doctor, my gastroenterologist said, doesn't matter what you consume or eat. This is just part of the body. I didn't believe that. So I started searching. Do I do vegan? Do I do it? I had one advisor said, Wayne, you need to go completely vegan. And I just was like, that doesn't fit my style. I'll do it if it'll fix me. But
Yes.
then, but ended up going, more on the carnivore, which again, thanks to you and other people that have really led that journey. But again, like, you have so much information. How do you draw out truth? And I think what you just said really is you got to find somebody that really cares, because as a doctor, you could write a book on any model, and you have an instant authority as a doctor, and people would follow it, maybe to their health or their demise. So really, people have to seek people that care and have knowledge, not just care or not just have knowledge. You're going to have both in today's
Correct.
world.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. And the understanding. I mean, that's part of it too. I mean, I can give you a medication that can influence um, your blood sugar, but the understanding and the mechanisms for how that's working, within the allopathic model, they're not the allopathic model is not so focused on how that's impacting the whole body as it is just if we're impacting the blood sugar, right? And so that's why
Yeah.
if you watch a commercial for any medication, you'll see the long trail at the end of all the side effects that are possible and adverse events. And you touched on AI. Um, I just had a conversation with Grok this morning.
Yeah.
And it did not agree with what it was telling me, and so I had to share with this platform why I disagreed, and it ended up coming around to agreeing with me.
That's
So
amazing.
isn't that
Amazing.
crazy? So you can really,
Crazy. Yeah.
yeah, you can dive in, and the concern that was prompted in my mind with that is how many people like are just thinking that AI's got all the answers, and they're not going to challenge it when they really do think that, well, I don't know if that's right, right?
Sure.
And so it is artificial intelligence.
Yeah.
There is an algorithm set up for it, right? And so we must understand that. And there's only one place where we can go where we know that we can find true revelation about matters, and that's also a very important key when seeking out the truth, right? We must go
Yeah,
to
absolutely.
must go to the word. So it's critical, especially in
Yeah,
today.
especially in today. Yeah,
Yeah.
when you have, you're right, um, the one source. In fact, it's really interesting. As I was leaving, I had a doctor's appointment today, just a follow up, and it was so good to be able to go in there. And they were like, "You're doing good." I'm like, "Yeah." What are you doing? I was like, 95%, 98% carnivore, and this is what I'm eating, and this is, but it was good to be able to share with them, the people
Yes.
that said it doesn't matter what you eat. But when I left, what was really interesting is when I left, there's another business matter was the top of my mind. And it was good to have a business matter on top of my mind instead of a health issue, when you're leaving the doctor. But I had this business matter, and I said, the one source that has the answer, without a doubt, I have access to, and it's not Grok.
That's right.
I can believe. I mean, I use Grok. I use Grok a couple times a day, but I know that Holy Spirit has the answer, so I'm able to go and just communicate. Just opened up
Amen.
my heart,
Yeah.
and I really am excited to see. I gave what I would like to say. I put a good prompt in.
Mhm.
Here's my prompt. If I was prompting ChatGPT or something or Grok, here's my prompt. And
Yeah.
I know I'm not going to get anything biased from an algorithm. I'm going to get pure divine truth revealed to me. Um, but what I love too about this, Dr. Bradley, is that Holy Spirit, God uses people to bring revelation. Though I
Yes.
think that's why what you do is so important in helping people in life, not just as a chiropractor. Fixing a you know sore neck or something.
Yeah. 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 Well, chiropractic is much more than that. It's
It
um
is, but
so
yeah.
but yeah, but I get it. Well, that's what 80% of the people that come in are coming in because they have a sore neck or an achy back, right? Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
uh,
But
so
yeah.
so let me ask you. There's always, well, I say always. I think there's always a defining moment when we, like. I used to think about, for example, religion and ministry one way, and then I can remember the day that shifted. I used to
Yeah.
think about health a certain way, and then I know when that shifted. But for you, as a doctor, as somebody that's out there, was there a defining moment, or was there a series of moments that kind of
Yeah.
shifted you from who you were to who you are at now and who you're becoming?
Yes, yes there was. There's a couple of them, couple defining moments. But the ultimate moment that really provided clarity for what I get to do was the my father. My father passed away from pancreatic cancer in 2007,
Mm,
and he spent the last 6 weeks of his life in ICU because of the therapies, not because of the pancreatic cancer, because of the chemo and radiation. He ended up getting some of the adverse effects. He ended up with a fungal infection, and so he spent
wow.
six weeks in the ICU. Wasn't able to eat or drink anything during that time, and I was already in chiropractic school. Towards the end, I was in my clinical time. Had fulfilled my requirements, the hours and adjustments that I needed to graduate. So the Lord blessed me with the time to be able to go home frequently and spend that with Him. And
Mm,
it was the best time my dad and I had together. Even when
wow.
even though he wasn't fully there because he was on so many meds and pain meds and whatnot. But but there was the moment that I realized it was he looked at me And he said, I just want to taste some Jello. All he wanted
Wow.
was Jello. This is probably 2 weeks before he passed. And, and so I snuck in the little nurse's corner where the fridge was, got a Jello out of the fridge, grabbed a little plastic spoon and gave him a bite of Jello. And he got this huge, biggest grin I've ever seen on my dad's face. Just,
That's awesome.
wow, right? Like the man was just living for a bite of Jello. And it was
Wow. That's
then that it
amazing.
struck me that this is not the way,
Mm.
right? And and I struggled with this for so long. I mean, it's taken me well, I was even into this year, I still was holding on to things from this with um because before my dad was sick, as I was walking through chiropractic school, just trying to guide him because he wasn't making good healthy choices. And so even early this year, it wasn't until early this year that I recognized that I was still operating with somewhat of a fear of rejection because of that from people. Yeah. So, well, praise the Lord that He shined the light on that for me. And that's just further brought clarity to my calling and confidence in the leading that I get to do with people. Leading them
Mm.
to freedom in health, freedom in recognizing who they are. So there's that moment.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, but my whole life as a kid, even I always said I was either going to play baseball professionally or I was going to be a doctor, which is kind of
Yeah.
interesting. Um, and I found chiropractic. I'd never been to a chiropractor, but decided to write my research paper in my second semester English class in college on chiropractic, and I fell in love with the philosophy of it. So this is before I was really even walking with the Lord, but the philosophy of chiropractic was truly amazing. And that's what led me to become a chiropractor without even visiting one or getting adjusted. So I was one of the few that entered chiropractic school without even experiencing chiropractic.
Wow. See, the philosophy of it, I would love for you to
Yeah.
share because I mean, I
Yeah.
know I'd love to hear it. I think the listeners, that would be awesome.
Yeah. Um, well, it recognizes that the body is intelligent, right? There's an intelligence that governs the body that chiropractic calls it innate intelligence. I call it's the wisdom of God. It's life behind the curtain, right? Like our heart
Sure.
beats, our lungs are maintaining a specific respiratory rate, our eyes stay nice and moist. We don't have to worry about governing that ourselves. It's just
Yeah.
done, right? It's the wisdom of God inside of us. Um, but the major premise of chiropractic is that there is a universal intelligence in all matter that maintains its existence and gives it its physical properties. So
Mm.
it's more the recognition of intelligence. And what is intelligence, right? Intelligence is merely the blueprint for life, right? If we're talking universal, we're talking the wisdom of God. We're talking about Proverbs 8 and Proverbs 9, right?
Mm.
And I've taken the philosophy and I've had to reconcile it to my faith, to the word, and it's Proverbs 8 and Proverbs 9. Wisdom was present before he spoke. Whew.
Mm.
That's the beauty,
That's
right?
good.
Like the constructs and the principles were established. The blueprint was established. Everything was created before there was form, right? It was formless in the beginning, and came to and then came together. Um, but so that's just a little bit of it. There's a whole lot I could
No, that's so
I
good.
don't,
That's
I
so
don't
good
concern
because
myself too much anymore with the philosophy of chiropractic as I do with just the beauty and recognition and the revelations that the Lord gives me now on life and how the body operates. Which is why now
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
more in a life support advisor role where I'm doing functional medicine and yeah.
Well, in functional medicine, I think that's something that I'm so glad we live in the day we live in because, you know, m- more and more people are seeking that. They're looking for something outside of the traditional medical. Uh, and I think that even comes along with the expansion of knowledge, of course, and then the expansion of awareness, being aware that there's other options.
Yes.
Um, there was not long ago, if you had a question, you might Google it, and then, but now it's now through, again, back to artificial intelligence, and we're finding out how there's a different way of thinking of things. I tell people often we're very binary in our decision maker, A or B. Should I do this? Should I do that? Do I vote Republican or do I vote Democrat? Do I go to this doctor or do I go to this treatment? But a lot of times it's not an A or B question. It could be C, D, E, or F. Um, and maybe we're not even asking the right question. So that is really what I love about the world we live in today. But if we're not careful, we'll grab a hold, as you mentioned earlier, wrong information. So we need people that are life support advisors. We need people that care. That's why I got in. It's truly, Brad, why I got into coaching.
Yeah.
So here I am. I'm in the sales world. I'm helping people in sales. And I'm like, and I'm a minister, but I don't know, like, where am I fitting in? And I realized people make bad decisions. People make good decisions.
Yes.
People make and remake decisions every day. But if we don't have a core base that a core identity will help us with our beliefs, which will help us be our actions, and our actions and reactions are simply our life. So one of the things that really bothers me is when I see somebody suffering or even living less than they should,
Hmm.
and they don't know there's potential. They were created with potential. Uh,
Yes.
and I'll tell people, hey, you need to search this, or are you open to hearing? But the world's in a pretty dark place of, you said something earlier, the principalities and there's systems in place to bring harm that
Yeah.
appear good.
Yeah. And they want to keep you in fear, right?
Hmm.
And that's probably the biggest detriment, the biggest inhibitor to fulfilling or even recognizing your potential and purpose, right? It's the fear that you don't even recognize that's causing you to seek everywhere, you know, um, just dominated by, it's got to be a drug and you got to take this drug forever. And that's what we're told. We're also told that, well, you know, my beautiful mother, um, she's been dealing with some health issues and she's in her 70s. She's gonna have a birthday here in a couple weeks. Um, and love her dearly. And her doctors just told her, well, you have asthma. Never experienced this before in her life. And they told her, well, it's probably hereditary. It's gonna be because of your genes. And genes, that's kind of the narrative that comes from the traditional medical model, is it's your genes, because that leaves you powerless, right?
Mm.
Oh, it's in my blueprint, it's just there. And that's just
Yeah.
not the case. There's a whole field of study called epigenetics, which means outside of genes, right? And genetics certainly may be a bullet that can create or leave the potential for something to be expressed, like, say, asthma, which is highly doubtful, maybe 5% of the time. But it's our choices, it's our lifestyle, and that's what epigenetics is. It's the study of lifestyle choices, because that's ultimately what withers down those telomeres, that will cause, the withering, the aging process, oxidative stress, metabolic inflammation, insulin resistance. Those two, if people can get control over insulin resistance and oxidative stress, all systems of the body would be coming back so full. And it's
Hmm.
as simple as that. Those two big stressors within: insulin resistance and oxidative stress. Chronic
Yeah.
disease, when you think chronic disease, 95% or excuse me, 90% of the money that is spent on medical problems in this nation are spent on chronic disease. This is diabetes, this is heart disease, this is autoimmune conditions, gut issues, cancer, Alzheimer's, dementia, strokes, 90%. And those are can be mitigated by our lifestyle choices.
Yeah.
Getting control of getting on top of the insulin resistance that we may have or the oxidative stress, your body will heal from those
That is so good. So
labels.
90%. So if we are going to stack the deck in our favor, I know a lot of people that listen to this podcast is because they want the edge. They want to get the edge, and part of, creating health is overcoming chronic disease. So what's the best way? Oh, I know there's a lot of ways, but I'm like, let's talk about, obviously, I know we're going to talk about the carnivore
That's
metabolic
just
health, carnivore diet,
yeah,
but
yeah,
I know that definitely helps with insulin resistance. But how about
yep,
oxidative stress? Let's just go there
same.
first. Oxidative stress, what would help with that?
Carnivore, right?
Carnivore. Okay.
Yeah, get on top of metabolic inflammation. Cut out the processed foods. Look at the ingredients. Make sure that you're consuming foods that have one ingredient, and that is the food itself.
Mm,
That's simple, right? Um,
yeah.
and then obviously there's controllable factors. Oxidative stress is going to come from it's chemical, right? So when we're thinking of chemical stress, we have to think food, air, and water, right? Food, air, and water is going to be where chemical stress in the body occurs. So the air we breathe, we don't really have much control over that unless we're going to, put some bubble around us that filters the air for us wherever we go. Our air is so polluted with plastics, microplastics, and all these other crazy synthetics that are, invisible, that are all around us that we're breathing in. We breathe in enough microplastics in a week. I believe I heard this from Andrew Huberman from the Huberman podcast. Enough
Yeah.
microplastics a week to create a credit card.
That's crazy.
Now,
That
isn't
is
that
crazy.
crazy?
Yeah.
But what a testimony to the body,
Mm.
right? Like
To be
think
able to
about that.
filter and
A
process that. Yeah.
resiliency and adaptability of the body to be able to handle that. Um, the problem is when it's constant, right? So we have the chronic stimulation of those pathways, of those stress pathways in
Yeah.
response to it, that then we now have a physiological state that gets labeled as a diagnosis, right? Or whatever. So, but there's things that you can do to continually detox, right? I've been doing uh, some products that are for that specific, like making sure that my body's got adequate levels of glutathione by providing precursors for glutathione, or NMM, which is a precursor for NAD, which is another amazing molecule within that really helps
Yeah.
with cellular stress. Um, Also, zeolite. I take a specific product that is a patented form of zeolite that captures even heavy metals from within your body,
Mm.
and can rid the body safely of those. Um, and it's,
That's really
things of that
interesting.
nature because we're constantly bombarded, right?
Well,
So,
I'm glad you said that, Dr. Bradley. And obviously, guys, if you want to find out what Dr. Bradley's using, we'll have his information in show notes. But it's interesting you said that you supplement, because one of the things I've seen and disagree with is a
mhm,
lot of people in the carnivore way of eating, the carnivore lifestyle, go, you don't need supplements. It's all in the ribeye. And but I think we do need at least some level of supplementation. I do glutathione. I do stem cell patches for GHKCU. I do I supplement.
yeah,
But I'm also I
yeah,
don't want to eat. I don't want to eat terrible and then try to out supplement, which I did for years.
right.
Um,
So
so,
that's the difference,
but I
right?
think supplementation is important.
Yeah, supplementation is important, and why you're supplementing. So you really like like what you said your routine is. You're doing that because you recognize the environment you're in. There's some factors that you can't control that are just going to be
Yes.
entering into your internal environment that you want to make sure that your body's able to address, right?
Yeah.
So, I was over supplementing up until January. I was on 14 different things, before I
Yeah.
started carnivore, and now my regimen is just 4 things. Like, now I'm down to 4, and those are for the present time stresses that I know that my body's under, that I'm not able to, um, or I'm not controlling. I'm not able to control what's in the air, right? Uh, I attempt to drink clean water all the time, and my food, um, I'm not grass fed, grass finished all the time when it comes to carnivore, but that is the tip of the spear when it comes to clean nutrition. Grass fed, grass finished, regenerative farmed ruminant meat, right? So
Yeah.
yeah,
That's good. Yeah. So then I'm curious. Um, it's really good. Yeah, you can't control all things. You can control. I've gone to the toothpaste without fluoride and the more
yeah,
natural. I'm taking. There's things we can do, obviously, and I think that's real wise that we take. And I always tell people take one small step.
that's right.
If you take one small step, for me, I just cut out the beginning. It wasn't full carnivore. I just cut out starches, cut out breads, cut out any gluten. And I noticed a lot. And then, okay, now let me to cut out the vegetables that could be with all of the things that people tell me I have to eat every day. And like, you got to have vegetables. And I'm like, it's really interesting because I'm doing extremely well without them. But tell if you don't mind sharing, you've been carnivore how long and what are some of the biggest benefits you've seen?
So I've been carnivore actually exactly 10 months today. I started January 3rd of this year. So 10 months today. I did it for 3 months last year as a fast to experience it, and what I recognized during that 3 month time, I had to dive into the research of it because I was like, this is pretty awesome. Why is this working so well?
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah, so um, things I've noticed, man. Number one, constant, good, solid energy. My mind is clear and focused. I wake up early in the morning. I'm ready to go. I don't have the grogginess. I just do drink coffee, so that's because I enjoy it. I don't need it, but I enjoy it. Um,
Same here. Same here.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
No aches and pains. Um, you know, 4 years ago, I weighed 307 pounds. So I've lost weight, which is great because my body's not carrying all that physical load anymore. But weight is not my marker. Weight's a good marker to see how well disciplined I've been in the life that I'm living, but I don't. It's not utilized as a metric for my health per se.
Got you. Yeah.
Yeah, my health
Yeah.
comes in
That's
the
good.
daily decisions, right? Yeah. So
That's good.
yeah,
I've been doing carnivore 2 months and 2 days now,
2 months
and
and two
I
days.
was underweight. I was underweight, and I've actually gained 12 pounds. And like you said, it's just knowing that I don't get the mid afternoon crash. I mean, it's so
Yeah.
funny because used to 2, 3 o'clock in the afternoon, I knew what time it was because I was exhausted. I was looking
Mhm.
for more caffeine. I was looking for more sugar to put into the system. And I'm looking here now, it's 6 o'clock, and I'm like, cool, I'm still good to go. And I've got another call after this. I have to, I have to monitor myself. I'm like, wait a minute, I need to actually shut off for today because I'm able to go, go, go. And at
Yeah.
52 years old, I feel better than I did in my 40s.
That's amazing.
Um,
Yes.
and and that's what people don't understand. But I said, well, I'm gonna do 30 days. I said 30, but I knew I was going to continue it. I knew I was.
Mhm.
But I tested it for 30 days. And I tell people, test, you know, just get rid of even if you don't do full carnivore, get rid of that processed food. I love what you said. If it's got one ingredient, yeah, that's probably a good food. Beef has one ingredient,
That's right.
beef.
Beef. That's
And
right. And it's
chicken has
100% bio it
chicken.
yeah, and beef
Yeah,
is 100% bioavailable and has every nutrient your body needs.
that's crazy. Yeah.
That's the beauty of it, right? It's like, if you're piecing everything together, if you're eating a lot of plants, certainly you can get pretty adequate nutrients from that, but your body's got to piece everything together and make it bioavailable. That requires energy.
Y yeah, and it's really interesting, my family's not on the carnivore. We're definitely making some changes in our diet, but it's really interesting. Somebody they said, "Wayne, it's gonna be really expensive eating," and I said,
Hmm.
"Really, it's not because there's no waste. If I make a 10-ounce ribeye, I'm
Yeah.
gonna eat the 10-ounce ribeye." Uh, Literally the other day, just helping my wife clean up, and I realized, okay, there was this left over, and there was this left over, and there was this left over, and it was just wasted food, wasted money, and it would've took a lot of that food to get the nutrients that I had in my ribeye or my whatever. So it's not expensive. I think it's just a mindset. We've been programmed for the
Yes.
standard American diet. We've been programmed.
Yeah.
You got to have the vegetables and the starch and
Hmm.
yeah. And if there's
Yes.
one thing I understand, and I have spent years in studying psychology and persuasion, I understand how people are converted into something that's or live a lifestyle that's dangerous because that's what everybody says. That's what they're taught. I'm watching a movie the other day and it was so funny. The guy had a bacon cheeseburger and the other character was like, "Oh my gosh, you're eating a heart attack," and so
Hmm.
and we watched that movie with the laugh track. We laugh, but that just means we start accepting that as truth. But I'm
Yes.
like, other than the bread, the bacon and the meat's great, but
Absolutely. Yeah.
we're programmed that way, and
Yeah.
it takes people, I think, like you, to get out there and go, "Hey, you may want to consider something different."
Yeah. Yeah. I think more than anything, in that regards to the lies that we've heard is cholesterol. They've done a really good job at labeling cholesterol as bad, right?
Yeah,
Um, and it's not. I mean, your body
yeah,
makes 85% of what's inside of you. 15% comes from your diet. So, one thing that you said earlier, Wayne, that you've gained weight doing carnivore. I think that's remarkable to hear because many people think they're going to lose weight, and a good point about this, the carnivore way of eating, is that it's not a weight loss mechanism. Certainly, you can lose weight with it. It's a modulator, right? It's because of those choices that you've made, your body's gonna settle and knows, right? The wisdom of your body, the wisdom of God within you knows where your ideal weight is and will settle you there. You don't even have to fret or toil over it.
yeah. It's so cool. It's so cool not to have to look at somebody, or even my wife said, "Well, Wayne, because I lost a lot of weight during the sickness." She said, "How are you going to gain that weight back without carbs?" And I said, "Well, the body's and I'm just going to eat protein and fats, and the body will." I just knew it. I just knew it, and so like every other day, it's up another half a pound, or maybe
Mhm.
every week it's up another pound, and
Yeah.
I'm like, and that's without gorging myself. I eat till I'm full, and so I love the way of eating, but I tell you something else that's done for me, Dr. Bradley. It's taught me if I was for 50 plus years eating improperly and thought I was doing decent, if I had ice cream, then I would like, well, I need to eat a salad tomorrow with, tons of seed oil on it and what they call dressing. But
Yeah.
But if I thought wrong for 50 years, what else am I thinking about improperly? What else have I been lied to about? And then it starts me digging into more research, but also being more open to correction from the Holy Spirit and from people
Yeah.
like you. Hey, have you thought about this?
Yeah.
Instead of, what you have been taught.
Yeah, absolutely. And um, going back to that, the truth, carnivore is such a simple it's a simple way of eating. We don't have to worry about, oh, I need to make sure I'm getting adequate grains for these and, you know, uh, tomatoes for this and blueberries for this and this for this. I need to
Yeah,
be making sure I'm getting all my nutrition, right? Um, the I mean, the Lord doesn't want us worried about what we're eating. Carnivore certainly provides that, right? We don't have to be toiling and spending that extra time. We can just understand
sure. Absolutely.
and recognize that it can be simple. And that's the beauty, I believe, of what the carnivore way of eating provides is the simplicity which really frees up your mind because I don't have to be sitting here thinking about the what, the where, and the how I'm going to have my food. Right? I mean,
Yeah.
if you're going to eat meat, you're going to eat meat, and so or eggs or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah, and it takes the yeah, we have a lot in our world today to focus on,
Yeah,
as parents, as businessmen, as whatever, and for really to simply go, okay, I don't have to worry about a big. I know what I'm gonna eat. I had eggs for
yeah,
breakfast. I had a steak for lunch, and when we finish our call and the next call, I'll probably have another steak for dinner or some ground beef or something, some salmon. I'll have something. It's just simple. I'll pick it up and eat it. A lot of freedom in that. That
there
people see it
is.
as I saw it as restrictive, but now I see it as freedom to put my mind on something else
Yes,
instead
and
of
as you
just
go through
consistently
that,
eating.
when you've been doing this 2 months now, so you probably even recognize that, doing this for 2 months, the, through eliminating all these other things that you were eating, right? Um, it does just become simple. It's the simplicity, this and it doesn't get old. I mean, I'm in 10 months in, and I mean, if I chose, I could eat a ribeye steak every day, right? I save it for the weekends now. but
Yeah,
but
well, I have I bought in bulk at our local little meat market here in Wilmington, and so last time, so I've been eating
that's great.
almost one a day, sometimes two a day.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's hard to get old
Well,
of eating a good ribeye cooked in butter, so I love it. So,
yeah. Yes.
but yeah, so metabolic health and reducing the oxidative stress.
Mhm.
Um, what else would you recommend for maybe somebody's watching this going, I'm never going to do carnivore.
Mhm.
And I get those people tell me, I'm never going to do that.
Yeah.
Well, what would you recommend maybe for somebody that wants to improve their health on a small scale, but maybe they're just not going to go that lifestyle fully?
Yeah. So I would recommend checking out a ketogenic lifestyle.
Mhm.
Okay, which carnivore is a ketogenic lifestyle. It's just all animal, no plant. But the reason for that is because sugar is toxic. Sugar is bad, and sugar is sugar. Bread is sugar. Pasta is sugar. Rice is sugar. And now we're getting into the insulin resistance, right? So
Mhm.
you could be insulin resistant and not have the label of pre-diabetic or diabetic for like 10, 20 years. But the
Wow.
fact that insulin resistance is stirring, that's metabolic inflammation. You're causing damage. There's damage happening under the ability for you to recognize it, right? So it's like campfires. I describe it like a campfire burning, and I put out the campfire, and those embers are still kind of there, stoking a little bit, and the wind comes along, which would be like an example of stress or sugar, right? Wind comes along and picks up those embers and blows them to an area that wasn't nourished with water and whatnot, and now we have this wildfire burning, and it's the wildfire that starts to burn that is more of what we recognize as symptoms, right? Like the crisis is
Yeah,
now present in the body, right? And so the just the more we can get control over insulin resistance, the better we're going to be
most
ultimately.
certainly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Well, I know
it's not
even
that you can't
even
have sugar. We just I mean there's a reason why our food system in America has 100 different names for it. I have a list of 100 different names of sugar in our food supply. And
it's very
that's not by coincidence, right? There's a reason.
yeah,
Sugar's very addictive, and we end up craving these things. Um, and the body's actually made. Physiologically, it's made to burn ketones. It's made to live in a fasted state, not a state of like sugar, right? Not requiring the carbohydrates. Carbohydrates are very short term, temporary energy supply. Ketones, fat is long term sustainable energy. Like think of a
mm,
bear. They eat lots of meat, and then they go and hibernate. While they're hibernating, sleeping for a season, right? Resting for a season, they've got all the energy their body needs to keep them going while they're resting and restoring for the next season.
Yeah.
Um, and great examples are nature. Look out in nature. Look at like animals, lions that eat meat. Look at their physique. They're solid, strong animals. And then you go and you look at more at herbivores and whatnot, gorillas, other things. They're eating plants. Well, we don't even have a gut set up like them. Our gut is not made. Our gut is more like the gut of a lion, right? We don't get much. We don't have a gut set up to ferment food like
Yeah. Yeah.
other animals,
That's
right?
interesting. That's interesting. So,
Yeah,
yeah, if you look at like you said, the lion, their physique, they're built, they're strong, and they don't munch on salad or
that's right.
blueberries.
That's right. The
So,
male lion and the female lion eat the same thing,
mm,
right?
yeah,
Yeah. I hear it often. Well, I'm a woman, so I have to eat differently. And it's
mm,
not true.
good.
Yeah, so
So you've definitely, and I know just here locally, like some of the people you've helped and helping in functional health and in the lifestyle of carnivore, uh, as well as really just helping, I think, helping people not just physically what they're consuming, but even the way they see life and what they're doing. And I'm excited to see your journey, my journey, and the people that we're working with, where we go from here. It's so great. Um, and then before we end, I'd love for you to tap into, just talk a minute about the the system. The system, how do we break free from the system of misinformation or lies? You think it's how do because sometimes I see people want to break free, and we talked about a little bit doing their own research, but then get into trouble because they go into like crazy land.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Breaking free from this, well, that's going to come with your mindset and your faith, right? That's one of the five pillars of health is renewing your mind. Recognizing, finding community, being in a community with healthy relationships. Um,
It's good.
that's what comes to mind right there for me, which are renewing your mind is one of the five pillars. Healthy relationships is the fourth. Um, Nutrition, motion, rest. Those are the essentials for a healthy, purpose-driven, full potential life. Right there. Um,
Nutrition, motion, rest. I think a
yes.
lot of people miss that last one.
Yeah.
Um, Probably
Yeah.
motion as well, but
Yeah.
rest.
Yeah. Good. And that's not. You don't have to go run a marathon, but motion is required for the body. Um,
Yeah,
your spine is responsible for feeding your brain because of its motion. The motion of your spine actually provides about 70% of the nutrients to your brain. Think about
really.
that.
Wow, that's
Yeah. Isn't
interesting.
that fascinating?
Yeah,
Yeah.
very fascinating.
And so we're made to
Hmm,
move. We're designed to
hmm.
move, right? Um, and truly, yeah, I think rest is probably the biggest for people right now, especially just in the days that we're living in.
Yeah,
Because of the heavy weight of fear and stress that's over not just our nation but the world, and to recognize we need to be anchored to the rock. Yeah, yeah,
yeah. That's so good.
um,
That is
yeah,
so good.
yeah. It's
Yeah,
not just rest, making sure you're getting good quality sleep, but operating in rest as well. You know,
yeah. I think that's
yeah.
been the biggest challenge in my life. In fact, after my father passed away, wow, 18 years ago,
Hmm.
um, I knew I even had several dreams where the Lord spoke to me and said, rest. And I never really fully up until, and this is like the goodness of God and his long suffering and mercy with us. I never fully rested until I really, the body got sick, and I realized in the healing process of surgery, in the healing process of a lot, I learned to rest in finances. I learned to rest in physical. I learned to rest in him. But probably could have saved myself a lot of trouble if I listened 18 years ago and
Yeah.
learned to rest. Now, and that's one thing I'd love to leave our people with is really is if you have confidence in something, you can
Mm.
rest in that. But the
Amen.
lack of confidence, if I have confidence in my God, I can rest in him. I have confidence in the decisions I'm making because I'm in a community. I'm learning, I'm studying, and I can rest in that. And it goes back to creating health, wealth, and happiness. You need to rest in those areas, but you can only rest if you have the support system that can
Yes.
really give you what you need.
Absolutely. That's a good word right there, Wayne.
Yeah. Well, Dr. Brad, how can people, obviously, we want people to be able to connect with you. Um, what is the best way for somebody to connect with you, learn more about you? We'll place this in show notes, but just share with us what's the best way.
Yeah. Um, my I have my email address would probably be the best. Dr. B, that's DRB at bradleywalter.com. I have an office here in Wilmington, Live Free Chiropractic. You can certainly go to livefreechiro.net and connect with us that way. Kathy'd be happy to set up a time for us to be introduced to each other. Yeah, those would be the two best ways. I also do have a podcast, the Health
I
Freedom
was going to
Doctor
ask you, I was going to
podcast.
ask you to
Yes.
share your podcast. Sure.
Yeah, and that's on Spotify and iTunes. It's called the Health Freedom Doctor podcast, where we talk all things faith, health, and freedom, speaking bold truths. And that's been a fun little project too. So
Good. That's good. Yeah. And we'll make sure we have all of that noted. Definitely follow the podcast. I've enjoyed the episodes. And so we'll make sure to have all of that in show notes. And I want to say thank you as a friend, as a brother, as somebody that I look up to. Thank you for taking time to be on here with us this evening. Really
yeah,
means a lot.
well,
Yeah,
thank you, Wayne. Again, it's an honor, and I always enjoy our conversations.
absolutely. Time to do lunch again at the golf resort. So we'll have to get
Th-
that set up.
There you
But
go.
yeah. Hey guys, thanks again for jumping on another episode. As always, wherever you're listening to at subscribe, hit the subscribe button, hit the share button. One thing, if you heard something it helped you, share, let other people know. And of course, you can jump over to prosperwithwayne.com, put in your email address to get our email newsletters, updates, future upcoming guests, and so much more. So thanks again, guys. Go out there and prosper in all areas of your life.
Thanks for joining us again at Prosper with Wayne. Be sure to subscribe to us for more exciting, life-changing episodes. Go today, in fact. Go now to prosperwithwayne.com and enter your email for our exclusive newsletter and other resources. God bless and go prosper.